Hi there, my name's Lisa Bobiak, and I'm a life balance and leadership coach. And I wanted to talk to you today about how to recalibrate yourself when the whole world feels off kilter. And here's why I want to talk to you about it, because I felt completely off kilter today. And here's how my morning went. So I have a regular appointment at the hospital for acupuncture, and I went to the hospital, and as you can imagine, all these big signs are there. Stop, don't enter if you have a cold, a fever, don't enter the facilities. And I enter, and many people are masked, right? We are all trying very hard to be mindful of the coronavirus. And it was everywhere, meaning being mindful of the coronavirus at the hospital. And then after that, I went to the grocery store to do a few errands. And it was clear that some shelves were empty, and toilet paper was gone, and hand sanitizer was gone. The water bottles were lower. And I get into my car and I'm checking my emails, and I'm noticing many events that I had scheduled or that I was a part of in the upcoming week and months ahead were canceled. And I have a habit of checking in with myself, so I could feel that my muscles were tightening and my heart rate was faster than usual, and I was, you can tell here, I was feeling anxious. And so my habit is to settle in with that and wonder, what's going on? Why am I anxious? And I recognized that I was anxious because I was looking to my external world. The external world was in a heightened state of anxiety, and then I felt that sense of anxiety. Great news is I have that habit of checking in with myself, and I know what to do to get myself out of that. Most of us, though, are on this autopilot busy day, right? We don't often take the time to check in with ourselves. So I want to give you 3 quick, immediate things you can do so that if you are feeling panicky or anxious or worried during this time of COVID-19 and the coronavirus, I want to give you some resources. So these are things I'm going to do this weekend, and you can do them too. The first thing I'm going to do is shut off the TV set and shut off my radio for news. I'm going to choose when I get my news and by what sources of news online. So rather than having an ongoing sound of worry and anxiety and information coming at me via the television and the radio, I'm going to choose when I get my information and from what sources I get my information. So the first thing I'm going to do is decide how many times this weekend do I want to check in with the news. Is it once a day? Is it twice? Is it 3 times a day? And what sources of information do I want to listen to? That's something you can do too. First thing, just tune out the external noise. We need to stay vigilant and aware, but we don't have to feel overwhelmed by it. Second thing I'm going to do is recognize what I have control over. I have control over what I buy at the grocery store, but I don't have control over what other people buy. I have control over what I do, but I don't have control over what other people do. I have control what I can do in my house, but I don't have control over what the stock market does, right? Knowing what my job is and what I have control over helps me feel so much more assured. I heard this from Byron Katie, and I share it with you. And it's regarding the 3 jobs in our world. And there's only 3. My job, your job, and then God's job. So knowing what my job is and recognizing that that's the only thing I can control is super helpful for me. So the second thing I'm going to do is to identify, what do I have control over? And do something about it. That way I can take action on what I can control, and I can release the things that I have no control over. So while I love to control what's on my calendar, I literally don't have control over it, do I? As I said in the beginning of the video, things are being canceled. So what I thought was on my calendar for tomorrow and Monday aren't anymore. And it could make me feel a little anxious. But I know I can control what I do with my mornings, and I know what I can do with my evenings. Those two pieces of my day, I've got full control over. And that makes me feel grounded and safe and at ease. I'd encourage you to look at your day and create a morning ritual and an evening ritual of which you've got full control. So, know what you have control over. That's the second thing. What's your job? My job, your job, and God's job. Third thing I'd like you to consider, and what I will be doing this weekend, is learning to take a pause. Learning to pause at the right moment is key. Is key. In our hyper fast-paced, sorry, I have to move. I have a little pain in my hip. Okay, so in our fast-paced, hustle culture, lean in, push through culture, we often run on autopilot, and especially when we're anxious or worried, we're even faster. Now's not the time to get faster. Now's the time to slow down and pause. We get anxious and panicky when we look to external things to validate ourselves. When we look to external things for information about who we are, that's when we feel stressed. You will feel less stress and more in control the less you look at external things and the more you look internally. So when we pause, you're doing the internal looking. When you pause, ask yourself, what do I need right now in this moment? So that's what I was doing when I was talking to you about my morning, and I could sense that I was getting angsty. I was in the car and I took a pause. Before I started the car and just raced right home to do my next thing, I took a pause in the car and I asked myself, what do I need right now? My heart was racing. So what I needed was to slow down and do some breathing. So when you pause, ask yourself, what do I need right now? What am I feeling? What's the emotion I'm experiencing right now? And feel it. Oftentimes, when we are angsty and panicky, it's because we're trying to avoid an emotion. Emotions are here for us to learn from. So recognize the emotion you're having and experiencing it. Experience the emotion even if it's uncomfortable. Then you don't have to work so hard to keep it away. So the three things I want you to do, and the three things I'm choosing to do starting as soon as this video is over, is to first thing, I'm going to turn off the TV and decide when and where I'm getting my online information. Second thing is I'm going to know my job. What do I have control over? And let the rest go. Third thing I'm going to do is to learn to pause in the moment. Pausing at the right time is key for success. It's key for peace. It's key for creating calm in the chaos. If you'd like more information or more resources or more tips about how you can do the internal emotional work while we're going through this together, check my website. It's livingfullybalanced.com. I've got videos on there. I've got free resources, and I'd love to support you any way I can. Till the next time, have a great Friday and enjoy the pause.